Today I'd like to talk about dream interpretation. What first got you interested in the interpretation of dreams?
My interest arose during an internship I was doing at the Los Angeles County Hospital in the 60s. I was working on a pediatric unit, and I was there for one semester, and I had a number of children that I saw every other day, and I started to give them drawings, and their drawings, according to them, were based on dreams that they had the night before. And the interesting thing I found was, as the weeks progressed, the figures of themselves, or representing themselves, were large and on the ground floor to begin with, and as they were coming closer to their death, the figures became smaller and higher. That was my basic interest, and from then, since the early 60s, I have been reading and talking to numerous people about dream interpretation.
How did the children know that their death was imminent?
They didn't know. They were becoming weaker. Some of them were quite happy. They were well medicated. They were still able to participate in activities. And it wasn't actually until they passed away that I had become aware that those drawings really matched what was going on in their lives.
Why did you want them to draw things? What was it, some kind of art therapy, or were you interested in their dreams?
It was both. Children like to draw, particularly with colored pencils, and some of them were fairly heavy medicated and really could not express themselves very well. And since I had always been interested in art, I was very interested to see what would show up on paper.
How do you get adults to talk about their dreams?
I think most people are aware that the original dream interpretation theory was developed by Freud, but even as late as 1914, in his writing on narcissism, he speculated that dream interpretation has no scientific basis. Given that fact, I believe that people that are particularly in touch with the feelings of other people and intuitive are able to shed some light on the possibility of meaning of dreams.
Do you think dreams have a general meaning that is maybe not linked with culture, or do you think dreams are maybe more so specific that they're unique to every individual?
I don't think dreams are as much culture related as they are feeling related, experience related, and desire related. I found one thing very interesting, that even older people in their dreams have never expressed to me in their dreams that they were older than their actual present age. In all the cases that I have discussed with people, they are much younger. So this tells me that it is based on personal past experience.
What do you think daily activities and patterns have to do with dreams?
From what I gather, dreams are usually based on several things. Number one, the daily experience. Number two, the desired outcome. And number three, the possible limitations to this desired outcome.
What do you think about the dreams expressing something in the subconscious?
I think as far as personalities go, you can often hear people that are very shy expressing in their dreams that they were a public speaker or they were highly admired for something, which would be their desire. Rarely do people speak about the dream experience being more negative than their actual life.
I think many people have trouble remembering their dreams when they get up, but many people infrequently will have a bad dream that they will remember in a very detailed way. Do these bad dreams mean anything?
According to researchers, only 5 to 10% of the actual content of the dream is remembered the following morning. If you wake up right during the dream, you may have a slightly higher memory of what happened in the dream. If you really try to interpret carefully, you can go back to the previous day and you can see a takeoff point from an event that happened the previous day, and you can see your reaction to that event, and you can also see your wishful outcome, your desired outcome to this dream.
So wish fulfillment.
Wish fulfillment.
So what about when somebody has a bad dream? Does that say that they wish for something bad to happen?
And if people have a bad dream, that is usually involves the fear that they will not succeed in whatever it is that is happening. Like, for instance, somebody falls in a hole and cannot get out. Usually, if it is really bad, people talk about waking up, which makes me wonder that, if they allowed their mind to continue to dwell, whether they could see a solution to that problem.
Well, you mentioned some scenarios that people have while dreaming. Can you just discuss a little bit, like dreams of flight? Does that mean anything in particular?
Dreams of flight usually are interpreted as two specific things. One is trying to get away from something, and another interpretation is trying to look at it from a different standpoint. Like, for instance, if you are on the ground struggling in a fight with somebody, and then all of a sudden you take off and you fly through the sky, you get a different view on your fight. The same as if you're dreaming having to cross a heavily flowing river. You go to the shore and you kind of ponder, should I go in? And if you are a brave person, you will cross the river. Rarely will you dream that you actually die in the river, but when you come out on the other side of that river, you feel a great feeling of accomplishment. And if you try to look at what is happening in your life, you might find a situation where you really had to make a big decision to cross this river to get to the shore. And if you arrive safely there, you usually feel like you have accomplished something and you feel better about yourself.
You're kind of moving into the issue of conflict resolution. Do you think that dreams can help people work through conflicts?
I think dreams can be very helpful. And some people talk about, I'm going to go to sleep now and I'm going to dream about succeeding. And I have heard people respond to that saying, if you go with that attitude, you will probably have a positive dream. But if you go to sleep in great fear of something, you probably will have a very negative dream.
What role do you see a psychiatrist or psychologist playing in interpreting the dreams? Is it necessary for someone to have their dream professionally analyzed?
No, I definitely feel it is not necessary. Like, for instance, if you are covered by an insurance and you have 3 to 6 appointments with any psychologist, your psychologist may be young and you may be an elderly person. Your psychologist may have been raised in a different country, in a different culture, speak a different language, and have no idea who you are and what motivates you. Again, if you go to a psychiatrist, they usually don't have time to listen to dreams. They prescribe a medication so you don't dream, so you just fall asleep. My recommendation would be even a very intuitive friend can help you interpret a dream.
How do you think dreams can be used to help somebody cope with impending death, their death?
That can be complicated because people that are anticipating impending death usually go back to their religious thoughts. And in my experience, people that have no religion are often very fearful and also fearful of their dreams, and they may see figures of devils and ghosts and things that they actually fear, where if you come from a belief that gives you faith in what is to come, those people are far more comfortable during their demise.
At the same time, though, it's quite common for even very religious people to have horrible dreams as they realize they're checking out. They can have dreams of, satanic figures or hell or something like this. How can people deal with problems like this?
That would most likely relate to unresolved conflict. People that are very religious or believe in an afterlife and a reward for their behavior on earth can have horrible dreams unless they totally commit to their faith. And if their faith is of such that the future will accept them through just simply forgiveness rather than for anything that they do, those people usually do not have bad dreams. People that are fearful and are conflicted and torn between a religion that they are rejecting and something that they fear could possibly be true. And again, we are talking about conflict. Like the worst dreams originate in conflict.
How useful is it for someone to analyze their own dreams to understand themselves?
I think it can be very helpful if you are totally open to acknowledge your faults, whether you are fearful, whether you are prone to anger, whether you are too brave and really not as brave as you pretend to be, whether your hopes and dreams are fulfilled, whether you have unrealistic hopes and dreams. All that can affect your dreams. And also, depending on what has been put upon you by either parents or schools or people that have assisted your upbringing, what were their expectations and how close have you fulfilled their expectations? And if you have not, do you feel guilt about not having fulfilled those expectations? For instance, if your stepfather wanted you to become a doctor, but your desire is to be a farmer, you may come out very conflicted, but satisfied with what you are doing. And dreams can help you actually puzzle that out of, that you are responsible for your decisions and for the consequences of those.
Do you think it's worthwhile for people to keep a journal of their dreams?
Not as necessarily, because most people remember their dreams. And repetitive dreams, of course, you will think, oh no, I'm dreaming about this again. If it's a repetitive dream, you really need to look into what is unresolved here.
Just to return a little bit to children's dreams, did you notice any real differences between adult dreams and children's dreams?
Actually, there's very little differences, because dreams build on your emotions, not on your intellectual abilities or intellectual interpretations. They build on your desires, accomplishments, and choices.
So, all things being equal, do you think people should strive to have good dreams?
I think people should strive to have their lives in order, to have what they are doing match what they wish they could do and what their conscience tells them to do.
I think that's a good place to stop. Thank you very much.